Good morning. My name's Piyush, and I'm an amateur bird watcher. In these times of COVID quarantine, I wrote a piece, a shorter version of which was published in the in the Hindu Business Line Inc. Last Saturday. Um, it's called "Birding in the Times of COVID." So I'm going to read out this piece for you all. I hope you'll like it. Birding in the Times of COVID. A recent piece by the Audubon Society. Birding is a perfect activity while practicing social distancing. Made beautiful sense. Birding as a singular pursuit or in small groups, done with care, seemed like a perfect natural quarantine. My personal vehicle, the motorcycle, was in disrepair. To go to a wild patch was a challenge. While all this was playing out in my mind, a birder friend put out an event, COVID, Home Birding Challenge, to bird strictly from home and share findings. The game was on. I am extremely lucky to rent a first floor corner flat with a large terrace in a middle class layout of 1970s South Delhi. A graceful champa greets me when I open my terrace door, and a handsome shisham, Dalbergia sisu, tree overlooks my terrace on the east. The terrace, in any case, my go to place in the mornings and evenings, now seemed like a perfect quarantine. I had terracotta pans with water that attracted a steady stream of birds. Moreover, brown-headed barbets were nesting in the shisham, so I sat to work with my computer, notepad, phone, binocular, camera, and a bird book. Sitting in the shade and moving away for a couple of hours in the morning when the sun's sharp, I got into a comfortable quarantine routine. I thought I knew the birds that were around, but then with nature, you should never be too sure. The brown-haired barbet pair was hard at work. Clearly, the female had just laid her eggs. One of the two was almost always inside the hole, and they shared nesting duties equally. Quite the modern couple, I thought. I was actually relieved to see them nesting, for all the effort that the barbet had put in chipping out the hole. I had seen a pair of rose-ringed parakeets trying to capture the hole just a couple of months back. The entertainers of this terrace are the jungle babblers, also known as Saad Bhai, because of the resemblance to an endlessly chattering group of boys. Quite nonplussed by human presence, they sound like rabble-rousing babble, 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 only changing to a higher pitch based on their mood, perceived threat, annoyance levels, and their urge to bully each other. They hop over and around the pots, picking and scattering the leaves with gay abandon, pouncing on little insects this exposes. So over this weekend they feasted on salted groundnuts, leftovers from a monkey's raid of a shop downstairs. That brings me to rhesus macaques of our neighborhood. They've been quiet lately. However, just this weekend while I was inside, escaping the sun, I could hear what I thought was the crackling of my newspaper in the wind. I stepped out to find the paper was just fine. On the champa tree, whose canopy is at the same height as mine, was a little monkey bossing over the birds. As soon as it saw me, it moved towards me with an open mouth and glaring eyes. It was so cute in its mock aggression that I smiled, and that frightened the little one. That is when I noticed the mama monkey had torn up a shiny packet of salted groundnuts and was feasting on them. The poor shopkeeper downstairs couldn't do much other than standing guard with a stick to protect from further loot. I was not keen on agitating the mother and entered in, saying bye to the little one, who by now had gathered some courage and was another act of cute mock aggression. The torn packet did not go unnoticed. The next morning, I saw a common myna with a piece of the shiny packet. After strutting around a bit in the morning sun, it flew off with its prize catch to add some shine to its humble nest. Later the same day, a myna, perhaps the same one, had the water pan with a feather and dipped it, perhaps to clean it or to make it soft. Then, after calling unnecessarily, fluffing itself, and generally showing off, it picked up the feather and flew off. I knew that they had dislodged a nesting squirrel from above the AC box some time back. On cue, it flew to that location. Not to be left behind, its cousin, the Brahmini starling, also because of its color and beautiful black mane, resembling that of a Brahmin, was also in nesting mode. A pair, with one of them carrying leaf material, was hanging around the barbet's nest. The barbets, I suspect, are rather simple minded. They tolerated the starlings. Sure enough, the moment the barbets were not around, the starlings barged in, trying to push leaf material in. It reminded me of how we would block a seat in state transport buses by throwing our handkerchiefs from the windows, annulling the great efforts taken by people who had jumped into a moving bus with the sole aim of finding a decent seat. The starlings seemed to be doing just that. For a second, I was tempted to shout choicest invectives and disturb them, but reminded myself that it was best that I just observed. Luckily for the barbets, the starlings did not make much headway and abandoned their attempts. Decorum was restored, and the barbets through the day could be seen making their careful exit and rapid entry into the nest hole. Other birds were nesting further too. The smart punk-like red-whiskered bulbul was scurrying away with morsels of food in its beak to feed its ever-demanding young ones in a roadside shrub close by. Thankfully, the champa was its top over, and I managed to get a shot with a praying mantis in its beak. Unlike our poisonous and terrible smelling pesticides, these birds did their work of pest controllers with style and elan. While the regular blue rock pigeons were seen all the time, another pigeon, the yellow-footed green pigeons, hung around awkwardly in the shisham, feeding on the seed pods, and in this nesting season collecting thin twigs. Their delicate cooing, a bit like a gentle whistle that had caught the early morning breeze, was undoubtedly one of the most melodious calls. Talking of calls, one cannot leave out the magpie robin. The male, with its jet black and white plumage and smart posture, took, its, took to its favorite perch, an exposed stub of the shisham, such that the whole world could see him, and belted out a series of melodies. No great wonder that he is called the king of garden birds. As my list crossed 15, there were a couple of little surprises. Late in the afternoon, the beautiful oriental white eye, also because of the white ring around his eye, came visiting the water pans. They can be quite fast and zip around in small groups, always stunningly turned out. They never have a bad day. And then there was another one, which is my favorite find. High up in the shisham, I saw a little flitter, about half the size of a sparrow. Was it a flycatcher? It moved too quickly, and the leaves and branches blocked a clear view. But from its jizz, the overall appearance of the bird, I guessed, was the red-breasted flycatcher. But I still want to be sure, and so a photo was important. Come what may, I couldn't get a picture, and finally did. It was barely good enough. As late afternoon approached, to my utter surprise, in true flycatcher style, it flitted in to arrive at a pot next to the water pans, and before I knew it, it flitted in for a quick sip and away. It was gone. It turned up again the next day, so this time, in my eagerness to get a picture, I disturbed it, and it flew away without taking a sip. This wasn't Atiti Devo Bhava. I felt bad. So no attempt at pictures of the red-breasted flycatcher from now on. I'm sure it'll flit back and drink undisturbed. In 2 days of quarantine birding, my list was a good 21 species, including one bird identification, the greenish warbler to be confirmed, and another one that I had only heard. Additionally to this list, I could add a wasp that seems to have taken residence close to the terrace door that also came to sip water, a young squirrel that has grown up on the shisham, and that cute rhesus macaque baby and mother. However, I had a special bird that I dearly missed. During a period not so long back, I was waking up rather early. That early morning, instead of tossing and turning in bed, I went out to sit on the terrace, soaking in the quiet and the cold. As pre-dawn lit up the eastern sky, I traced the silhouette of a shikra, the stunning small bird of prey of our urban gardens, sleeping quietly at first, then waking up and slowly warming up, to finally basking in the morning sun to fly off. COVID quarantine birding may give me a chance to see it again. Since I wrote this piece, my total bird list from my terrace has gone up to 36, and I have seen the shikra, although only in flight. Thank you. I hope you'll enjoy this.